Here we are live. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind. Every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we dedicate 1 hour, okay, to nurture, to learn, to understand deeply, to practice all the deep understanding that we are getting here about real prosperity and abundance, that we realize that it's a level of consciousness, is nothing outside us, is all inside us. So we are committed to do the work from the inside out and to really do the change that we call permanent change. You know, when you do the click, when your thinking start to switch, when you start to feel more free because you release. That is what we are doing this 3 months, I think, working with our book, The Abundance Book, from Lawrence Crane, that is all about the release technique. So welcome again. Today is Saturday, August 20. Are you already, like in USA, it's almost like the end of summer, and in Spain we are right there in the middle. All the towns are partying, you know, and it's beautiful to see the aliveness of being outdoors and celebrating life. So welcome again. And before I start to read, that we are in page 116 for the ones that you have the book, I would like just to get a little in touch with what it is that we are doing here, because I think it's very powerful, and I want to get it, you know, or transfer to you that in a simple way. So the philosophy that is behind this book, or this teaching, let's say, is the deep understanding that we already are who we truly are. We already are magnificent, fulfilled, harmonious beings, beautiful beings, abundant, prosperity, happy. I mean, we already are that true nature, all right? And what happened with us is that we embark on a journey to forget that, and we start a journey of, you know, covering up our true nature, our radiance, our fulfillment, our wholeness, with layers and layers of the understanding that we are separated, that we are not who we truly are, that we are separated from source, and we are, you know, like doing our own thing alone, you know, without any kind of support, and blah, 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 struggling, scarcity, not enough, fear. All these are consequences of our ignorance, our sleeping state, and we are awakening. So I love to say that, yes, if we, you know, understand we have the big picture, every time that you touch something that is constrictive or that is limiting, that you are aware that is not in alignment with your true nature, you have the possibility to release it. And to get very simple here, so the one I love to refresh this again and again, because the simpler, you know, the more we can grasp it in the sense of understanding, you know, the easier it becomes. It's like someone can explain to you to, I don't know, drink a glass of water. Yes, you can imagine it, but when you do it is when you really get it, right? So to make it very simple and to do it in a simple way, Lawrence Crane is supporting us to understand that every kind of contraction, discomfort, limitation, let's say, when you are not, you know, in fulfillment and radiance and, you know, like a whole and complete and peaceful and loving, but really not mental, like really being, okay? When you are not on that frequency, you are in another kind of frequency. And these other frequencies are all the range of emotions that we can experience in our daily life. And you have, you know, this list of emotions that some of them I don't even know what they are. In English, it's not my mother language, if you want, you know, but I mean, it's amazing because really helps you to get in touch with what you are truly feeling. So go to the book here and really learn, you know, or give a look to all these kind of emotions, because anything that is not expansive, again, is an opportunity for us to release. And all these kind of emotions, okay, are going to end up, okay, we go from apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, courageousness, acceptance, and peace. All these kind of emotions, okay, are going to end up in 3 categories, we can say. We can find out, you know. One is pointing towards wanting control, like every human being that is separated from source or has this consciousness that can be separated from source is going to want approval, you know, because we are kind of scared. I feel myself there a lot, okay? Wanting approval. Another expression is to wanting control. So I don't know how many of you are what we call the control freak in here, you know, has to control everything and has to make sure that you are safe, in quotes. And the other leg, the three powerful legs here, is wanting security. So when you touch any emotions from, you know, let's see, read here, like embarrass, imagine. But you feel embarrassed one day when you go to your list and you notice that this is attached or is an expression of fear, okay? So this fear here is really wanting control, don't want to be feared, so it wanted to control. So what you are ready right now, if you are feeling embarrassed, let's say, is to relax into this kind of fear, to understand that you are wanting control, and then to open the window, is the way I call it, in your front body. Here is when you sense, you know, upper chest or solar plexus or belly, whatever it is that you feel. You take the time to put your head down, meaning that you take the time to feel. And you know, the release is really a matter of being one with what is and let it go. No arguing, not mental attachment with it, okay? So that is what we are practicing. And we went through a lot already, but I'm going to continue with the page 116 that begins all this chapter that we are working in, and I think we can finish today this one, because after we are going to come into goals, you know, and things like that from the release technique, how we work with that. But it's how to rid yourself from worry. This chapter is all about mind, attachment to thinking, you know, to worry, to have to do something, and so that's what we are working right now. So I'm going to start to read, and please take notes if you have questions and or ahas or any kind of experience that can support us to integrate this more, that can inspire us to, you know, to really practice this kind of release technique and to free ourselves fully, so we can naturally, meaning no effort, okay, be this abundance and prosperity that we already are, that source is, that God is, and you are one with it. You are an expression of that. So let's release, you know, the illusion of limitations and to ground ourselves into this abundance and prosperity consciousness that we are. So we begin here with attachment to doing something. Says, now let's look at our attachment to doing something. Now, I'm not talking about not having the ability to do something. I am talking about being run automatically. I got to do this. I have to do this. I should do this. I must do this. How many of you are aware of this kind of language, you know, in the head? You need to be in control rather than having to listen to this thing telling you what to do all the time. Attachment to doing something. So first, now we are like kind of stirring the pot, okay? Let's bring consciousness to this attachment that human beings we have. Just be human, compassionate with it, and ready to let it go, okay? Just let your mind think of things about the attachment. Write it down and see what you wrote or thought as wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe or secure, and then release the want. This is the entire technique, okay? Very simple. So last week we worked on what advantage it is to me to do something. And I just want to fill up the energy to continue reading here. But the thing is, you know, we discovered, some of us found a sense of purpose, you know, when you do something. Another was to be approved. You know that if you do something that other wants, then you're approved or you feel like responsible. So where that ends, in my case, was a lot about wanting control and wanting approval. So what I do, I open the window, I feel it, maybe it's 10 seconds, don't have to be like half an hour doing this, okay? But when you notice something, open the space for it. It's like, yeah, I sense you, okay? Open the window and let that go, okay? And now I'm going to read, and I'm going to try to read slowly here, because I want you to, if you can, close your eyes and follow the reading. And if you sense something, okay, just open the window and let it go. That's the beauty of this work. Very simple, okay? It says here, 1, imagine never, ever being able to do something. Let go of clenching or resisting the feeling it brings up in your stomach or your chest. Keep releasing until there are no more feelings in your stomach or chest. So take a minute here to imagine that you are unable, that you know that you cannot, that how it says here, like imagine never ever being able to do something. How do you feel? And is that wanting control, wanting security, wanting approval? In my case, I feel super powerless. You know, like, oh, my gosh, you know, okay, I'm purging this kind of energy here. So open the window. Can I let go this wanting security? You know, is what I fear, is what I sense here. Whatever is for you, just take this second, you know, to touch these feelings. So we don't reject them, we don't grasp them, we do nothing with them. Just open, offer space, and they naturally go back to source. Okay, beautiful. Number 2, could I let go of my entire attachment to doing something? Keep letting go until you can say yes 100% with no clutching or resistance. So can you let go of your entire attachment to doing something? Check in. Open the window. I can feel like, you know, I feel in the first moment, I feel like, okay, sure, you know, let go, relax. And then it's at such a level of trust. And I'm there for a little second, and then boom, a little clenching comes in, you know, it's like, oh, hold a second. So just, you know, open the window, let go this wanting control, wanting security in my case. And this is the work. Open the window and let this energy go back to source. Beautiful. So if you have more of this, because it's easy to say, you know, it's like, can I let go of my entire attachment to doing something? You know, it's so automatic, you know, that we're going to do instead of being. Okay, so if you have more material here, just write on your book and you take the time to repeat this question again and again, and you check in. So let's take a look at the attachment to doing something. So what advantage is it to you to do something? Does that bring up a feeling of wanting approval, control, or safety? And could you let go of wanting approval, control, or safety? That's our work. Now, what disadvantage is for you to do something? Does that bring up a feeling of wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of any or all of these feelings? Now, what advantage is it to you to do something? What is that? What advantage it is there for you, you know, to do something, to engage, to do, you know, like, okay, let's do something here. What is that advantage? I get active, I feel important, something to do, I get a sense of worthy. Whew. Okay, is that wanting control, wanting approval, or wanting security? And if it's wanting approval, that is what I sense here, can you open the window to let that go? That's how simple this work is and how powerful, okay? So check for yourself. Now, could you let go of wanting approval, control, or being safe? And what is another advantage of doing something? Does that bring up a feeling of wanting approval, control, or safety? And could you let go of either wanting approval, control, or being safe and secure? And what is another advantage of doing something? Could you see that as wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let it go? And more and more. And this is how we purge these energies, okay? And what's another advantage of doing something? We are letting go all the kind of attachments that we have here that, bring us to do things on automatic, okay? Does that bring up a feeling of wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? And what's another disadvantage of doing something? What is another disadvantage of doing something? Does that bring up a feeling of wanting approval, control, or safety? And could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Keep releasing until you have no more advantages or disadvantages coming up. Then move on. So if this topic of you can understand how important it is to don't do on automatic, that will come from needing, wanting approval or wanting security or wanting control. If we don't engage in our doing from these sources, then we are going to engage with our doing from inspirational action, like you are peaceful, connected in the moment, and inspire action shows up, but it's not anymore creating any kind of disharmony, anything like that. That's how important this work is, okay? Beautiful. So now we are going to ask the squeezing lemon question again. This is a sign to bring up whatever resistance you have, whatever energy is stored in your stomach or your chest area, and allow it to come up and let it go. So imagine, close your eyes here, and imagine never, ever, ever being able to do something again. Can you relax on that? You can't do it if you want to. It's like you can't. How do you feel? Notice in your stomach or in your chest, this sensation that comes up. Imagine to never, ever, ever being able to do something again. Like paralytic, or like you can do nothing. It's like, wow. So I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning of the book, I like the window image, but Lawrence was explaining to us that these kind of energies, they want to go home. They want to go back to source. And the image that he gave us was this kind of tube that you put into Mother Earth, into the earth. And when they found this, let's say oil, petroleum or whatever it is, like suddenly, boom, the petroleum comes out, like super. There is a lot of pressure right there, so that really wants to come out. Well, he was saying that this kind of energy is pretty much the same. And he used the symbolism of this tube, that you plug into your stomach or your chest or whatever, and you allow these energies to come out. Well, that's how I felt right now when I was saying ever, ever, ever again. Oh my gosh. So it's kind of, scary, but who can feel fear? Who can be scary? For sure, that's not true nature, True nature is not associated or conceiving fear at all, okay? So again, one opportunity to let that go, to release. Open the window, put the tube of the oil, whatever you feel like is good for you, and let that go. Offer the space, and these energies will go back to source. Beautiful.
I want to jump in, Monica, 1 second.
Yes, yes, please.
To this squeezing of lemon, because in this period that I haven't been able to be physically in the masterminds, but in my, I have been able to test all these exercises and more every day in my life. I mean, squeezing lemons and more. And it's really funny because, this attachment to doing something. I very recently had an example of a situation that was like, sometimes life puts you like in a setup, it's like, setup. And it's like, which is the window out, which is the way out, and I love it that you brought again that example, which is so true, that Lawrence talked about, of it's like a cord that connects us with the center of the earth, because sometimes it's like we have to let go all that energy of trying to control, of trying to, sometimes we feel so powerless. I felt like a few days ago, I feel like, my God, here I am in this situation, and what can I do? I don't want to get into the details of the example, but it was ridiculous. And I really realized that the only way out was to let that energy go of wanting to do anything about the situation, and just the situation by itself resolve. And I felt very relieved, because really, this is not a better laboratory than real life in every day, and the way energy is going in the world. Every single little day is extremely important to put to test everything that we learn in this mastermind.
Wow, Celio. Yes, well, thank you so much. And I love that you share here, because that's what is important to me, okay? Is not to read a book theory and blah, 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 and we get intellectually, like filled up. No, my passion is to wake up really, truly. And I see that this, like when you were saying, I feel powerless, there's nothing I can do. What an opportunity to open the window to powerless concept and residual, and all the times that we have thought about I can't, powerless, when we are one with omnipotence and omnipresence. It's like we don't even have a clue who we truly are. So and I know that it's not an intellectual clue that we need to have, but I believe that the more we release these layers that we are not, that is our truth, is not our true nature, the more we are going to experience and radiate out our true nature. So thank you, Thelio, for applying this in our daily life. Is constant, constant, constant. To me, it's like you are more, something that I become is more and more aware. And what I am awareness, conscious awareness. So it's so beautiful. This is the process. So thank you so much, Telio. Very beautiful. Okay, so let's see. We are here. So imagine never ever being able to do something again. You can't do it if you want to. Put your head down and allow that energy to come up, and let go of resisting it. And more and more and even more. Imagine, not really do that, okay? Imagine never, ever, ever being able to do something again. How do you feel? What is your response? It's like there is a part of it like, oh my gosh, I get like crazy, like what? Like total powerless, and then open the window, release that, and you will find out that maybe you are pure trust, capital letters, safe and okay, right here and now. In the same situation. It's so funny, it's so face your monsters, let's face our dragons here, let go who we are not again, and have the courage to do this journey for you to wake up, okay?
Yes, Monique, and
So
one more thing, excuse me. It's very powerful, this exercise, because once you do it well, like you say, it's not like we have to do these exercises well from the mind point of view, as if we were in school or in college, like, it's not so linear. We have to do it with our consciousness, with our soul. But once you do it and you really feel it and you connect to that, and you give that, I wouldn't say bad energy, that other energy that makes you powerless. Once you give it to the universe or to the center of the earth, it's moved, it's not there, and then the power of manifestation becomes incredible. And I had an experience this morning, the same morning of this mastermind. I went to Ferrerias, and I have to mention it because it's so magical. I wrote in my planning, just a little note that something I had to do that is extremely complicated. In my work, some papers that, my God, if you think it with your mind, you would say it's impossible to find all this data, and I would need that for next year's IRS, the Spanish taxes, and it's like, my God, if I think it with my mind, I'm going to freak out and start trembling, like you're mentioning, Monica, that never ever I'm going to find this paper. And then I arrive in Ferrerias, in the coffee shop that I have my cappuccino, and the first person that I see is the person who has the power and the ability to have that data in a flip of a second. It was incredible. I just wrote it in a little note before leaving Ciudadela, and half an hour later, I see the person that can resolve that incredible problem. So that's the magic of being connected with this method, and with any method. But this method is really powerful, you know.
Wow, thank you, Celia. I love it, and I mean, I celebrate you for that expression, let's say, because really inspires to apply it, to do it. And here in our world, Aaron and I too, it's like I say it every day. I said, who is going to be the angel of the day? It's like I'm like every day receiving miracles here, and in things that in the past I was more attaching to struggle and fear or whatever is coming easier, and if it's not this one, something else appear. I mean, it's amazing. So I totally agree with you, Celio, in the sense of celebrating the little progress that we see that are huge step forward into not having to struggle, and to really trust the universe is already organized. The universe already not only created us, created, galaxies and suns and stars, and everything is working well. And here we are, us, separated beings, having to make it, alone. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel very heavy when I say that. So let's focus here a little bit. But I just love that we can experience it already in our lives, the result of this. Okay, so go for it. So let's do the squeezing the lemon question here. And even more, imagine never, ever, ever being able to do something again. Allow that energy to come up and just allow it to pass through. And more, and even more. Imagine never, ever, ever being able to do something again. It's so funny because to anybody that is listening to this mastermind or whatever, that the book that is not in our with our intention, let's say, it's like, what do you mean ever, ever doing anything again? It's like, how can you think about that? It's a bad thinking. We could judge it, but with the intention to release, what we are doing is we're invoking these energies that we created from ignorance in the past, okay? Because there is a sense in all of us of, powerless, and I can't. I mean, for me, for sure, is what we call personal, my personal doubt, like, it's like, why can't I do this or whatever, So we all come with this kind of programs, So the beauty is to accept that we chose that journey to wake up and make it easy on ourselves. It's like, all right, woohoo! I spent last week was powerful. The full moon, the day before the full moon, I was very down, feeling dense, low energy, and I wanted to feel up. A full moon, oh my gosh, I do want the moon to imprint what I'm feeling here, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was like, and then I realized, wow, all this is a purging. All this can be a cleanup. What it is that I'm really feeling. So brings you back to consciousness. And if we do that, that just release work, we are doing our job. That's the real thing that you can do. Let go, let go, let go who you are not. So thank you. I mean, I love to experience this. Okay. You could not do it even if you wanted to. Put your head down. See if there is any unwanted energy and just allow it to come up and allow it to pass through. And more, and even more. And could you let go of your entire attachment to doing something? If there is any resistance to saying yes, put your head down and just allow that energy to come up and allow it to pass through. Keep releasing on the squeezing the lemon question until you have no more charge on the question. Remember, we are going for the ability to freely do something or not do something, to eliminate that compulsion, the I have to do something or I have to do that scenario. That's all we are doing. Could you let go of your entire attachment to doing something? If there is any resistance to saying yes, just allow it to pass through. Remember, you want to be able to be free to do it or not do it. That's freedom, choice, okay? Again, why not be in control of your emotions instead of your emotions controlling you? So could you let go some more? Keep releasing until you can answer yes, 100% to this question. Then move on. So minimum today we have opened the door, to this energy, releasing the energy of the automatic doing, from fear, from control, or from, the need or wanting approval. Yes, Arne? I know. Okay.
Well,
So,
yeah, I
oh,
feel
okay.
a little inspired here, and there is a lot of response to it, to not wanting to let go of doing something. You know, if I let go of doing something, then I feel stuck. I feel I lose control. I feel powerless. I feel like I'm failing. But then on the same time, I know that I have to let go. At death, falling asleep, a part of me understands or recognize that giving up is or not doing something can be translated as giving up, or it can be translated as surrendering to another power. So I'm sitting here that if I accept that it's okay not to do something, then I have to acknowledge that there is another power. Then what do I mean when I say there is another power? Well, the mind part of me says it's there is other power than the mind that is coming up with the ideas of doing things. But then I also recognize at the same time, well, there is another power, and that's called my life force. That's different than my thinking. That's the part of me that makes me experience being alive. So there is another power, but so I'm going back and forth in feeling like a failure if I surrender to the other power, which is my life force, and trusting that that has a plan already. So really, I have no job to do. I have to undo my job and release, and then surrender my control and trust and just trust. And from the mind point of view, that sounds like a failure, stupid, you're crazy, and a struggle, work. And in the end, I know I have, in the end, at the evening when I go to sleep, I have to give up. But it's a struggle. I find the struggle, and I have to let go of that need to be in control in the recognition between mind and life force, and how the mind is trying to talk me out of knowing that there is a life force, that there is something else than the mind. So working on letting go of control.
Wow, powerful, man. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. And the letting go of that mind needing, remember the other day, needing to understand, needing to figure it out, like, I mean, who we truly are cannot be encapsulated through the mind. So to transcend that mind, that thinking mind, let's say, it is a journey, and again, beautiful, because that's the only thing that we can let go. And then we are going to shine naturally. So just be busy opening the window or putting the tube, the petroleum here, and, let all this energy out. So I love that we are sensitive enough here to feel that, the powerless, the fear, the need of control, the wanting control, because these are the energies that, want to go back home, want to be free. They are like condensed. They use a lot of energy to keep maintained on that conditioning. So it's very beautiful to notice that we start to master the different kind of experiences and feelings. Candace, I see that you opened the microphone. Welcome, welcome. Maybe not? Okay.
Oh, I was that better? I was so aware with the action how much of that automatic action is so fear-based. Really astonishing, and I'll just allowing myself to be with that, realizing that actions are almost like running from fear. I'll do this, and it might be because somebody might approve or disapprove. It might be because I want control. I mean, I know I've said this before about, different aspects being all three, depending on the moment. But this one really delineated itself clearly for me as I was releasing how important it is for my safety and security to have to act from that must do place, and it's so liberating. So I'm just so delighted to be moving past it and to just feel it empty out really easily. It really wants to go home. It wants out. Let me out of here, Let me out of this box. And this is a simple, oh gosh, I'm just so grateful. So, yeah, tally on. And everybody said such wonderful things over our last little bit of conversation. Thelio saying, there's not a better laboratory than real life. What a great statement. And then who's going to be the angel of the day? I really like that, Monica. And surrendering to the higher power of my life force, Arnie. That is, those are really core statements that are spoken from a place of being free of these kind of limiting energies. It's so limiting to not release. So, yay, here we are, freeing it up.
Thank you, Candace. Beautiful. You are so beautiful.
I wanted to add something that I think is extremely important, Monica and Candace, and we're mentioning that we're sending those energies back to where they belong, right, Monica? You just said that. That's very important. For that concept, it's not a concept, it's a notion, it's a reality, but it has to be, it's extremely important. So I want to make a point. Yes, we have to send those energies back home so that they can be transmuted, in transmutation, so they can be transformed into something positive. So like Candace, you were saying that no action then becomes the right action. Like the mind, it is not that there is nothing wrong with the mind, just the mind has its role. It wants to protect and wants to guide and wants to keep a role. And what these techniques and this knowledge and this technicality, which is incredible because it's really a technology, this book is totally about technology. From my point of view, it puts the mind into its right role, right? And then allows the magic or the higher energy to create, to be in the laboratory, Candace, in this laboratory that we have to be with, we have to be like in a real laboratory. We have to be clean, with no germs, with no bacteria, and surgery. You're not gonna go into a surgery room like that, like going to your kitchen. So for me, it's incredibly important, Monica, that you brought this up, and we become conscious that yes, those energies are sent to be like cleaned and transformed so they can bring us back the right energy to perform.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, and from my experience, from my deep understanding, let's say, as soon as we detach the hook that we have on these energies mentally, let's say, we don't nurture them, they dissolve by nature because they are made of nothingness. So this is an illusion, really, And you find that out when you feel it really and you allow it, suddenly it's like there is no any more discomfort, there is nothing there. It's like, wow. So to have more and more ability to encounter these energies without judging them, and saying, okay, wonderful, instead of, wow, my gosh, how do I feel down? Oh, I feel down. What I'm releasing right now, what I'm feeling that is looking towards going home, going back to source, right? To be completely dissolved, like you say, transmuted, dissolved, disappearing. Because if we don't hold it mentally, they don't exist. It's so funny. I mean, I love it. Whatever. So let's keep going here.
I have something. Can I hook? Yeah. So, Celio, fantastic there. No action brings right action, and I have that experience in life a lot. But then I also just want to acknowledge my mind here is going berserk and is going crazy. Well, that's like giving up. Like, for example, if you're threatened, or I have a birth experience of myself where I was attempted abortion. So there was a communication between me and you can take that in many examples in life, but here's just one where there is a discussion. Let's do the abortion. Let's kill this. And then I'm sitting there with my mind. No, I'm going to take some action here. I'm taking a point of view, and I'm communicating, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and we're all going to go home happy. But with that, if I did no action, then my mind says, well, maybe you die then. You know, you're kidnapped, you're gonna die. So, well, but dying is, from the mind's point of view, that's not a good action. So my action is then better than no action, says my mind. So to trust that the divine action, the no action that brings the right action, is more in tune than what I decide is the right action. So I have to actually surrender to that what I think is the right outcome, the outcome that I want to have. Maybe that is not the best outcome. Maybe it's better that I'm not alive in this form than another form, like people who are sick, they're dying. No, I'm going to try to, be alive. I'm going to do everything I can to take these medicines and take that things and do whatever, all those things. And that is more correct than just surrendering until a right action comes, which might include that, no, I'm leaving this body into another body, to another place. So it's a huge surrender to that my desired outcome might not be the best desired outcome.
Wow, that's powerful, Arne. And again, I love what you say, because it's really bringing light for me, for sure, to understand, that when we identify with the body, it's like when you are identified with your true nature, and you know that you are eternal presence, consciousness, eternal, unlimited potential, nothingness, with all the possibilities contained inside, something that our mind cannot really conceive, okay? It's beyond the conception of our minds. But the more we identify with the body and the mind, let's say the separated mind, the more we are going to dance into this game. Of course, this body wants to survive, and of course, But that's the beauty of this work. I think the more we can relax into our silence, in our true nature, into our presence, the more we are going to detect that there is actions that come completely in alignment with the entire universe. No effort, clean, but because there is no fear. When we are who we truly are, there is only love, capital letters. There is only acceptance, permission, safety, harmony. I mean, the concept of, power struggle, fights, all that comes from separated mind, Fear is the cause of all the trouble here, So I love that we can start to discern that, and yes, it's inner work, and yes, that realization is huge, Arne. It's like, wow, maybe we take the time here to be very gentle today, only today, because we are purging these energies out. These are our ego at this very second is like, excuse me, what? Oh my gosh. And we need to be aware of that we are purging, we are bringing a lot of light inside, and maybe the shadows are coming out easily. And we are masters of that right now. We know what we can release, right? So wonderful. Thank you so much, Arne. Very powerful. Okay, so to release, to detach, to free ourselves, we work with in two ways. One is the attachment to whatever, in this case, to do something, and the other is the aversion to do something. I don't know about you, but I tend to dance from extreme to extreme, and that again keeps mental. Is based on mental game, Oh, then I do nothing, and then it's like, I don't want to do anything. Okay, let's trust, but I go mental instead of being. Okay, so let's play a little bit here to see how we can release the aversion of doing something. So just let your mind think of things about the aversion. Write it down and see what you wrote or thought of as a wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe or secure, and then release the want. So take a deep breath here and check. What do I like about doing something? And notice if that is wanting control, wanting approval, or wanting security. And I'm sure you sense the energy already. So if you have more to clean up here, you come back to this page 118, okay? But interesting, you know, for me, it's all about wanting control here, you know, like feeling important and engaged. And I can sense the energy, you know. Open the window and let that go, okay? Now, what don't I like about doing something? What don't I like about doing something? And let's write that something down here that I want to share, just one example each. And just for me to share the first thing that show up here, what don't I like about doing something? The possibility to make a mistake. Just stop right there. It's like, oh my gosh, that show up on my consciousness here, right? Okay. Is that wanting approval, wanting security, or wanting control? And in my case, I do touch here by wanting approval. Okay. So what do? I open the window to let go the wanting approval. That is the motivation for this kind of actions. Okay. So, anyone found something that can relate to if it's wanting security, wanting approval, or wanting control? What don't I like about doing something? Yes, Candace, go for it.
Well, I think it's about wanting control, this one for me, because where I went was that I don't like the fact, and it's similar to your not wanting to make a mistake, but it's that I don't get my full results from the effort. Like if I'm making action from that automatic place, it is not entirely satisfying the result because it just wasn't enough. Somehow it's still claiming some kind of perfection and control and thinking that, well, that was good, you did something, but you didn't do enough. And that has to do with making mistakes too. It's an unwillingness to not be perfect, which is ridiculous.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so imagine always having to do something. You can't stop. Keep releasing until there are no more feelings in your stomach or chest. Imagine always having to do something. You can't stop. Tiring just to think about it, okay? Wanting control, wanting approval, wanting security. So open the window, whatever it is for you, okay? But just allow that. Number 2, could I let go of my entire aversion to doing something? Keep letting go until you can say yes 100% with not clutching or resistance. And now let's look at the aversion to doing something. What do you like about doing something? Does that bring up a wanting of approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe? Could you let go of either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Now, what don't you like about doing something? Does that bring up a wanting of approval, control, of safety? And whatever it is, could you let go of either wanting approval or safety? And we keep going like this. I'm going to advance a little bit here to finish the chapter today, but it's all about steering this kind of energies here of being attached or have aversion of doing something, okay? And now let's ask the squeezing the lemon question. Imagine always having to do something. You can't stop. Exhausted, I feel. If that brings up a clutching, a resistance, put your head down, allow that energy to come up and allow it to leave, and more and more. Imagine always having to do something. You can't stop. You are going to have to do it forever. Allow that energy to come up and just let go of resisting it and allow it to pass through. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just phenomena passing through. And more. Imagine always having to do something. You can't stop. Doing, constantly. Is that wanting control, wanting security, or wanting approval? Where do we come from when we act on that way so on automatic? Put your hand down. No, let's see. And could you let go of your entire aversion to doing something? Any resistance to saying yes, put your head down. Allow that energy to come up and allow it to just pass through. And could you let go of your entire aversion to doing something? Any energy there? Just check. The aversion, the resistance to doing something. Just allow it to come up and allow it to pass through. And could you let go of your entire aversion to doing something? And more, and even more. Keep releasing until you can say yes to this question 100%. So here we have these two polarities that the mind works, the ego mind will work, you know, attachment and aversion, attachment and rejection, okay? So these two energies are the ones that, you know, keep us away from the inspire action, the feeling comfortable, and allow the life force that you were expressing, Arne, to work through us, where harmony is a quality of that one, okay? So be free to release our ego fearful beings, or, you know, aspect that is, to me, I feel a lot of compassion for that me, in quotes, you know, because that's what's helping me to wake up. So thank you for showing me where the light is, okay, just by releasing you. So great. Okay, so maybe you want to write down some insights that you have noticed when doing this exercise. The exercises are designed to help you discriminate on your attachments and aversions. They are designed to allow yourself to give up the automatic reactions and have a clear understanding of why we are doing things from an automatic standpoint of view. Okay, now we open a little section here that is titled Ponder, Worrying, Thinking, Doing Something. Why we do it automatically? First, I want all of us to question here, do you worry? You know, I love this sentence that says, worry is like to pray for what you don't want. You know, when you are, oh my gosh, look what she's going through, or, you know, this is so bad, or worry, you are praying for what you don't want, okay? But we are addicted and we go on automatic. So, ponder, worrying, thinking, doing something. Why we do it automatically? Here's why I suggest you do the worrying, thinking, doing something exercises. By doing these exercises, it allows you to call up the subconscious mind, look at it, and then release what you don't want. The habit of worrying is something that plagues us all, but we seem to do it a lot. One day, when I was into worrying, I sat down and did an attachment to worrying and an aversion to worrying. The word thinking kept coming up in the releasing exercise, so I sat down and did an attachment to thinking and aversion to thinking. To my amazement, I noticed that in order to worry, in quotes, I had to think, in quotes. In order to think, I had to worry. That worrying, in quotes, went hand in hand with thinking. I never saw that in myself that way. Then the words doing something kept coming up. So I sat down and did an attachment to doing something and an aversion to doing something. I then discovered that every time I was worrying and thinking, I always had to do something. Then I noticed that I was motivating myself with negativity to do something about the disturbing or scary situation. I decided that I no longer wanted to motivate myself with negativity, so I sat down and I wrote the following goal, which I have been using successfully for years. And in quote, it says, I allow myself to do absolutely nothing except release and have a wonderful, abundant life with ease. I want you to feel this because I think that from our ego separated, entity, let's say, is like, excuse me, I have to control here. But from our beingness, if you really relax in presence, this is it, okay? I allow myself to do absolutely nothing except release when you notice a crunch or, resistance, and have a wonderful, abundant life with ease. I allow myself to do absolutely nothing except release and have a wonderful, abundant life with ease. Whew, let's see if that brings something up to you, okay? I then discovered that the most powerful action I could take was releasing. Everything started to happen for me without me moving my muscle. The BAT system started to work big time, and I started to know how the mind really works. Try it. You will like it. And with this, we complete our chapter here. I suggest, to revise it. I mean, I love how he expressed his own experience and discovering, so you have to do your own investigation here and exploration. But it's so beautiful to see that, to understand, that we go on automatic in general. And to stop the automatic thing, you can use this exercise of aversion and attachment. And then you are free. And then the perfect action will flow in easy, with ease and grace, and angels appears, and like you were saying, Celio, like suddenly, the perfect person shows up. And that's because we are in alignment, we are out of the fear, the control, and the need of approval, and all that stuff. So congratulations for having arrived to chapter 17 is what we finished today. And next week we are going to start with chapter 18, that is titled How to Achieve Goals by Releasing. It's like upside down our mind. What do you mean achieving goals without thinking about it, just releasing, like by releasing? That's what we are going to dive next Saturday. And in between, wow, we are just 1 minute away, so let's open the microphone if you have something to share here as an integration of this section that was about thinking, worrying, and doing something. I think we are very clear with these energies that really shake us in some way. And anyone we would like to say something before we close this meeting? One thing that I want to say, 1 second, is, anyone that is seeing this recording, or, indirectly or during the week, you have the recording under unlimitednetwork.com mastermind. But if you want to be here in the panel and really play with us, okay, you email Arne, A-R-N-E, at unlimitednetwork.com, so we can include you here, okay? Thank you. Yes, Celio, go for it.
Yes.
Celio, I can hear you because you mute yourself. Let's open the microphone now.
I'm sorry.
Again, you muted.
Okay.
You have to open the microphone and the video even. You close both things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm muted. I am muted.
Now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Yeah, well, I did something on automatic. It's an example. The subconscious touches the mouse without realizing. This is what we do. This is what you are just about, Monica. And the story in this morning was even more beautiful because not only the person showed up, but was a person that I normally would have been terrified to see. Was a person that I normally would have felt aversion. It's like, oh, and then was like the person was there and the solution was there. So, this is the phenomena that they're talking about in the book. The phenomena becomes transformed. And then the other thing that I think is extremely important, Monica, that you just, the last part of this chapter about the worrying is so important to release it and to clean it, because otherwise, if we realize that toxic energy that is very negative of being worried and being in fear, and it's very and that moves the world. Until now, it has been moving the business world. It has been moving the politics. It has been moving the world. Just look at the elections in many countries. I wouldn't say in that country, but in general, and the same with money. And so this toxic feeling, this worriness has to be dissolved, has to be sent to another galaxy. Is extremely crucial, is extremely important if we want to become successful in any arena, you know. So it's extremely important. The end of this chapter is extremely important, Monica. And that sentence that you read, I think, you know, I'm going to write it and put it in my bedroom and keep reading it. You know, I allow myself to do absolutely nothing except release and have a full abundant life with ease. I'm going to put it with gold letters in my bedroom. This is the next action I'm going to do after this mastermind.
Beautiful. Inspire action. Yes, great. And I love what you said, Thelio, because, you know, there is, I think, was a lot of rewarding in the ego world, let's say the unconscious world. I don't judge ego as something bad. We are waking up. We are coming out from what I call, you know, el fango, in Spanish, no? What I call the density of ignorance, of not knowing who we truly are. But in that world of not knowing who we truly are, that we call ego world, let's say, of course, you know, you even were, you had rewarded, you were acknowledged by being worried. That's what you're supposed to do, you know. To be worried means like you show, I don't know, interest, and you're worried about it, and you're worried about it, and look, that's the way that the ego nurtures the fear, okay? So the ego is growing, and that's how we created our world today. That is an illusion, thank God, you know, but the point is, the ones that we are awakening here and committed, because we already feel the call to let go the illusion and to really ground and embody the true nature that we are, okay, consciously, to know that we are consciousness, not only this body, we are eternal consciousness. And, you know, let's identify ourselves with that, and then see what you live from that identification, instead of identification with separation, right? So I love what you said, because for me, you know, there is so many people that keep worrying about politics and a financial thing, and to me I always say, you know, the change comes from the inside out. So instead of stop talking about the outside, you know, and start to do the work inside. And it's exactly like that, Thelio, what you were saying, you know, to be already awake enough that we can let go the attachment to worry, the attachment. We already catch the strategy of suffering, you know. So it's a matter of applying. And like you said, Thelio, I'm going to write down this sentence too, to dance with it, to play with it, to enjoy it, you know, and to embody it. So I can have this easy, abundant life naturally, not because I make it, not because look how good I am here, you know, that I did it. No, because that's who I am, period, to honor our divinity. And with that sentence, we say goodbye. We are 5 minutes after the hour, but I just love to be with you guys. Thank you so much. I know that, you know, every Saturday we keep nurturing this kind of awakening to be the conscious entrepreneurs and the conscious people that we are. And that's what is supporting our world, I think. So thank you, everyone. Welcome for the next week. If you want to be, remember, you can always email Arne at unlimitednetwork.com. So thank you. Have a wonderful release week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.